Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's James here from Embark, and today I want to talk to you about first mover advantage, or FMA. In game theory, first mover advantage is the idea that if a company brings a certain product or service to market before anyone else, they will attain a number of very good benefits. So what are they? Well, they're advantages, and advantage one is this. You build loyalty and brand recognition. Obviously, if you are the first person to bring a product or service to the market, then customers have no choice but to go with you. And as long as you deliver value to the customer, they're going to be happy with their purchase, whether it be a product or service, and they're going to stay with you. Even if company B comes along with a different offering, one that's maybe even slightly better, if they've been purchasing from you for the past couple of months, 6 months, year, 2 years, whatever it is, they've been purchasing with you, they're very unlikely to jump across to company B, even if their offering is slightly better. So that's one of the advantages. You get that brand loyalty, that brand recognition, and people are going to stick with you. Customers are going to stick with you over a new competitor, the new kid on the block. They're going to stick with you, and that is a big advantage. The second advantage is you can exploit internal economies of scale. And effectively what this means is that your average cost in the long run is going to be reduced because you're going to increase your efficiency when it comes to production of the product or the service, when it comes to staff and how they work and how managers manage those staff. Also, it's going to be increased efficiency of marketing as well. So how you actually attain customers. So all those increases in efficiency is going to mean that your average cost is going to come down, and therefore it's going to be very difficult for company B to come along and compete with you on your product or your service. So advantage 3 is learning by doing. If there is a learning curve to whatever it is you're doing, whether that involves code and creating product like that and having to do workarounds, or whether that's building a product and you have to source the best materials, find the best people to put those materials together, purchase the best machines to put those materials together, or a learning curve for how to gain customers, for instance, you're going to be moving along that learning curve. And then when company B comes along, they've got to start from scratch, and they're always going to be behind on that learning curve compared to you because you started earlier. So you're going to be up the learning curve, they're going to be just behind, and also you have the brand loyalty and the brand recognition on your side. So that advantage coupled with the first one is really significant, and that can help you stave off any competitors pretty early on. So the next advantage is you can gain a huge market share. Obviously, if you're the first company to bring a product or service to that market, or even if you're a company that's actually created that market, then you are going to dominate. You're going to grab a massive market share. So for instance, with Uber, they created the ride sharing business. Obviously there was taxis beforehand, but Uber really created like the online, the app rideshare business, and they therefore reap the rewards of having a massive market share initially. It was like a 90% market share. So that's one of the massive advantages. If you get in there first, you can gain a massive market share, and competitors are going to come in and try and pick at that. But if you're up that learning curve, if you've got that brand loyalty, you're going to be absolutely fine. So another advantage is switching costs. If you have paid for a product up front, or you've signed a contract up front, then you've already paid out for this product. So even if competitor B, company B comes along and they've got a superior offering, it's going to cost you a lot of money to switch over. And those switching costs therefore create an issue for any company that wants to be a competitor. It's going to create a barrier to entry, because even if they know they've got a better product and they can come in and go, hey guys, come over to us, we've got a better offering than company A. The issue is it's going to cost the customers so much money to come over, they're just not going to do it. So that's a really good advantage, a good way of locking down your customers. So going back to Uber still isn't profitable, and the reason being that any revenue that they get from ride sharing, they then put that straight back into the business. They put it straight back into marketing, they put it back into increasing their staff and increasing their intellectual property and things like that. They could be profitable, but because they're investing all that back into the company, they can grow larger and larger and larger and try and keep that market share and try and keep that growth away from other companies. And that's why they're doing it. Now, Lyft has challenged Uber really hard. They've done a great job, because back in like 2015, when Lyft came about and tried to take some market share from Uber, the share was about 90-10 Uber to Lyft. And since then, Lyft have managed to get now around about 35% of the market, and Uber's on 65% of the rideshare market. So that's really significant. They've done a really good job. So all of those advantages create barriers to entry for smaller competitors. So realistically, the only chance a small competitor has at gaining a market share, whilst a big competitor, company A, has got those first mover advantages, is that company has to be extremely radical and have some crazy innovation that's going to be able to draw customers over. And that's unlikely, but they still need funding and they still need money. So it's very difficult for small competitors, and it's difficult for big competitors to take away any of those advantages from a first mover. However, as we've seen from Lyft coming through, obviously they had funding, but they took a huge market share away from Uber, which shows you that even if you have these first mover advantages, they are not enough just to use and dominate a whole market. You still need to have a little bit extra. It's not just all down to first mover advantage. You can't just be the first to a market and that's it, you've won, end game. There will be people coming and fighting, and they will take a market share. So you've still got to be a good company, you've still got to have good innovation, you've still got to be working hard as a company. You can't just rely on those advantages as a first mover. And sometimes it's not beneficial to be a first mover. In fact, there are actually some disadvantages. One of those disadvantages is you have second movers, or company B, for instance, that will come along and they will see issues that you have with your company. They'll see problems and they will fix them and put them into their offerings. So the issues that you have with your company, with company A, the issues that are there with first mover, sometimes they don't want to fix them, they don't care, they've got the customers, they've got the brand loyalty, they've got people locked in with contracts, things like that. But company B will come along, they'll see those issues, they'll work them out, and then their offering will be so significantly better that customers won't have a choice. They'll have to move across to company B because it's so superior, because they've utilized learning what company A has done wrong. They've taken that and they've dominated. So that is a disadvantage to being a first mover. You're going to make the mistakes all the time, and they might be costly, whereas the second mover can just learn straight from you. Another issue is sometimes employees are going to leave. Employees are going to leave company A and they're going to go and set up company B as a direct rival, and they're going to take across things that they thought might be better. They might have even suggested them once upon a time to their managers and things like that, and they've said, no, we're going to carry on going our way. And they go, fine, well, I'm going over here, I'm starting company B, and I'm going to take some market share. So that's another disadvantage. You're always going to have people, when that market is ripe, you're always going to have people jump ship from company A and try and start company B. So an example of this in the UK would be Hayley Parsons. And she worked at Admiral for 14 years, Admiral Insurance. And Admiral Insurance owned Confused.com, wholly owned them as a subsidiary. And Hayley Parsons was head of development for Confused.com. She then left Admiral and Confused.com in 2006 and created the rival GoCompare.com. And this rival The reason Go Compare did so well is Hayley Parsons had seen the issue with Confused.com was all it was a price comparison, and that's it, price comparison site. So what she did with GoCompare.com was she listed prices, but also the other benefits, the non-financial benefits of those particular products. So when she's comparing price and features, and that actually did really, really well. And GoCompare is now one of the biggest price comparison sites in the UK, and they have a huge market share. So she started at company A, left, created company B, and took a massive chunk of market share from company A. So that's an example of where it's happened. So overall, there's some advantages and disadvantages to being a first mover. And realistically, the defining factor of whether a first mover is going to obtain those advantages is based on how quickly they can scale up production or scale up the service that they are providing. If they can scale up their production or scale up the service that they're providing, and they can do that quickly and efficiently, they are going to gain the advantages. And as they gain one advantage, that's then going to help them to gain another advantage. So for me, it's all based down to how quickly that company scales, rather than the company just joining the market and just starting to sell the products and services. It's reinvesting that money in scaling as quickly as possible. And I think that's the defining factor for a first mover, gaining those advantages. There you go, guys. So that's first mover advantage. That's an easy little concept to get your head around. And it's one that you can actually use and utilize in your own business, your own product or service, to push away procrastination and try and help you internalize that idea, push out your product or service, iterate, get customer feedback, work on it. Don't just try and hide and try and protect that you are the first to the market. Oh, I don't want anyone else to know just in case they steal my idea. No, get it out there, work, iterate, create, scale up so no one else can catch you, and then go for it and make a run of it. That's my advice anyway. So that's everything for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. If you did, please drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll have a new episode or two every week pretty much. And that's it from me, guys. I've been James for Embark. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you again soon. Ciao.